I'm Monica Lytwyn, and I have been an early childhood educator for 25 years. I actually started in this field as sort of an accident. I wanted to work with babies in the worst way, and so I went to my guidance counselor in high school and said, "How do I work with babies? I want to be a nurse." And she said, "Oh, don't do that. There's not going to be any jobs in nursing," because this was in the 90s and there weren't any jobs in nursing. Little did she know that 5 years later there would be tons. But so I ended up at the University of Manitoba in human ecology, and there's a family studies program there where you take a specialization in child development, and I did infancy, and so that's how I ended up in childcare. And then from there, I ended up working frontline as an ECE with children for many years. So after a number of years of being a frontline ECE, I was thinking I really wanted to do more out there and have a bigger impact. And I was always interested in quality and improving quality and making things the best for children and families. And we had started doing that at my center, and I'd been working on that for quite some time. And I thought, I think I can do this elsewhere. And so I ended up working at a center that had multiple sites where the reason for that position was to help us get better and to work on quality and curriculum. And so I did that for a little while, and then ended up doing consulting work for a number of years when my children were little. And then from that, I ended up working for the province of Manitoba, where we did lots of work around inclusion and quality. And that was a really exciting time because we got to have such a big impact on our field and work with people and help them, see where they wanted to go and help them get there. And so that was a really exciting time in my career. And then there came a time again where I felt like it was time to do something different. And so I ended up returning back to Red River College Polytechnic is now what it's called. And I've been an instructor there for about 6 years. There's a lot of people, young and old, who have inspired me to be who I am today in my work. I think my parents actually inspired me. We grew up in Norway House, Manitoba, which is in the north. It's a First Nation there, and the way that we lived, our way of life, was very similar to the practices we use in early childhood education. And I learned that first from my parents. I also learned from the children that I worked with. Two of them in particular, Katrina and Kyle, I remember them very, very well. And they were just so passionate about playing and feeling, and they taught me so much about living in the moment and being just there and with them and to show the feelings. And I thought they really helped me learn that. I've learned a lot from colleagues that I've worked with. I learned from one of my very first colleagues, Shannon. She showed me kind of the ropes on how to be a really good ECE and how to use natural consequences and to just roll with the flow of the day. I've learned from colleagues more recently that I worked with at the province and at Red River. Carmel was just such a kind and compassionate person. I learned from Ellen and Carrie. They were just so big picture thinkers and attention to detail. I learned from Carolyn, who is just so she's just so giving and kind. I also learned from Jerry, who knew when to speak her mind and to say what needed to be said. And I've learned from Sue, who's just so thoughtful about everything. I also, throughout my career, learned from people I saw out in the field, who were sort of leaders in the field. And I learned that, I just learned about how to be a good leader. I learned from Deborah Mayer, I learned from April Kellenuk, I learned from Michelle Grant. Pat Wedge was the MCCA executive director for many years, and I learned from her as well, all about different ways to be leaders. I also was inspired by my children, who are adults or almost adults now, but they showed me how to be leaders and also how to be brave. Both of my kids have had things in their life they had to be brave for, and I've really learned from them and watched them grow. I think there's a lot of work to do in this field, and it's an exciting challenge. I think that parents and families and children, they deserve to get the best that they can get when they come see us in the mornings and when they drop off their children. And so I think as a career, that means that we have a constant need to continue to work hard to make sure that what we're providing for children and families is of really high quality. And so that's what keeps me motivated to keep working in this field. We can become the best that we can be, and there still will be room to grow and to get better, because that's what children and families deserve. So about 20 years ago, I was at a conference and we were on the verge of a national childcare program. And then things changed and there was no longer going to be a national childcare program. And I remember thinking at that time, and my children were really little then. I actually think I only had one child at the time. And I thought, I wonder if we'll ever get to a place when I'm still in this field where we will be on the verge of a national childcare program again. And we're there right now today. And so I'm really excited and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next few years, because this is really an opportunity to make things great for children and families in Manitoba and across this whole country. And it's about time that everybody had that opportunity. There's big things on the horizon, and that's what I would share with a new ECE coming into the field. Luckily, I get to see new ECEs that are going to be joining the field all the time, and so that's something that I share with them in our courses together.